But I don't know, I just don't feel like I'm like a genuine enough New Yorker because I didn't like grow up here and I don't know like the city like the back of my hand and I don't know. I don't know. I don't really feel like a real New Yorker. I think that like what a New Yorker is such a strange thing. Like you can be a New Yorker and only live here for only have lived here for 3 years. Like I have friends that came here for college and I think that they're New Yorkers because they know the city well or they're like a part of the city more. I moved around so many places. I wouldn't say that I'm a Floridian. I wouldn't say that I'm a New Mexican. So I guess like New Yorker is the closest thing. But I say I live in Staten Island. I'm a Staten Islander. I remember when I first started going to the new school, people would say like, "Oh, what dorm do you live in?" And I'd say, "Oh, I don't live in a dorm. I live in Staten Island." And one girl said, "Oh, was that like a neighborhood?" It's like, no, it's like a whole borough. Staten Island is such a weird place. Like it's part of New York City, obviously, and the people that live in Staten Island work in New York. They work in Manhattan, and people who live in different parts of the city have like been to Staten Island. But I feel like there is a disconnect there. I like sort of living in a small town kind of area. I like bump into people that I went to high school with all the time, and like I work in a small diner and I see the same people every day. And it's fun, but like it's a whole thing. Like working at a diner in Staten Island. I had this one guy come in. I was like ringing him up, and he was like, "What are you?" It's like, "What do you mean? What am I? What are you? I'm a person. I'm a student. I'm a hostess right now. Like, what are you?" He was like, "You know what I mean." And I was like, "What? You want to know my ethnicity? You want to know my race?" And he was like, "Yeah." I told him that I was half Filipino, and he said, "What's the other half?" I said, "I'm Irish and Italian. The other half is Staten Island." He's like, "All right." He's like, "It's a good mix." I'm like, "What am I, like a dog? Like I hate that. Like it's like I don't know, like a smoothie or something." Feels like another planet than like when I come to school and I sit in the classroom and the first day of class they say, "What are your pronouns?" And then I go to Staten Island diners and I have gross customers commenting on what I wore this week as opposed to what I wore last week. People at the new school know how to talk to each other decently, and people in Staten Island don't. And there's just sort of no concept of like what is inappropriate for lots of people, or people in Staten Island, and this is such a generalization, but especially in my experience, many people in Staten Island don't know like what's inappropriate. And it's not just Staten Island, it's people everywhere don't know how to talk to people about like race, and people are weird about people that are ethnically ambiguous. But definitely happens far more often in Staten Island than it does at the new school. I definitely like, want to move out soon. I want that sort of independence on my own, but it's a place that's been home for me for a long time, and it's always going to be a home for me.